Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Tammy Live. I'm Tammy, and today, guys, we are going to be making a delicious pepper steak recipe, guys. This pepper steak, absolutely amazing, quick and easy, and most importantly, the meat is going to be absolutely tender and juicy. So without further ado, guys, let's introduce these ingredients and get started. On our ingredient list today, we are going to start off with some flank steak. Yes, of course, this recipe is so versatile. You don't have to use flank steak. You can use top round, you can use sirloin, totally up to you. I'm gonna leave other beef options that you can use in the description bar. For our seasonings, we have minced garlic, fresh garlic, of course, that I chopped up, as well as cornstarch. We also have some onions, green bell peppers, not to mention we have the ginger, brown sugar. We also have some seasoned rice vinegar. I'm gonna say it again because a lot of times people tend to get confused with rice vinegar and red wine vinegar and so on and so forth. This is rice vinegar seasoned. Now the difference with the seasoned vinegar is that it has more flavor. We also have red chili flakes in the house. We have some water, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, steak seasoning, a little beef bouillon, not too much. And we have salt, ground black pepper, as well as oil. And it's time to get to cooking, guys. Here's our steak ready to go. Now, here's the thing. If you want nice, juicy, melt in your mouth steak, guys, you definitely have to cut against what's called the grain. Basically, what that means, cut in the opposite direction from the way that the meat is going. Check it out. If you see closely, it's going in this direction. So what we're gonna do is we're not gonna cut in this direction, but we're gonna cut in the opposite direction. We're gonna turn it around so you get a good look. And I'm just gonna go in, start off right here and thinly slice our steak. Just like that. How is everybody doing, guys? I hope you guys are doing absolutely awesome. See, guys, we're cutting it nice and thin so that way once we cook it down, it's gonna melt in your mouth. These beef strips are kind of long, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna cut it in half, just like that. So that way, not only do you stretch the recipe more, but everybody gets a piece of meat, of course. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna add this to a bowl. Just like that. I'm gonna add a little salt, just like this. And I'm not gonna add too much, only because the other ingredients have salt already. I'm gonna go in with just a little bit of pepper, not too much because I am using pepper as well. Or should I say chili peppers. Gonna mix it up. Make sure I combine the salt and the pepper with this delicious steak. I am gonna add my steak seasoning. Just like that. And I'm gonna add my beef bouillon. Give it that extra flavor. Gonna add some minced garlic. And a little ginger, of course. The ginger is gonna definitely add to the flavor as well. I have my Worcestershire sauce. I'm gonna add only half of it. Make sure you save the other half because we're gonna be making a slurry. And my soy sauce, I'm gonna add just a little bit as well. Reserve the other half. And it's time to combine these seasonings with this meat. And of course, I mentioned steak seasoning, all right? But I know that everybody's steak seasoning, depending on the brand, is a little different. So it doesn't really matter what brand of steak seasoning, just feel free to use any steak seasoning. It's still gonna pan out perfectly. This smells so good. The ginger and the garlic, and oh my God, the steak seasoning, it smells absolutely delicious. Anyway, we are gonna move over to our stovetop and we are gonna get to searing up this meat. Now that our pan is nice and hot, as you can see, look at all that steam. I'm gonna add the oil and we're gonna go in and we're gonna add our steak pieces. During the prepping process, I always wash the meat. That's just what I do. It doesn't matter what type of meat it is. However, water is usually retained within the meat. Even if you pat it dry, once you start to cook it, especially on high heat. The water is going to drain from the meat. If you see water in the pan, it's totally, absolutely okay. What you're going to do is you're going to continue cooking the steak until the water literally burns off. Now, key tip. This is a Tammy tip. If by any chance the water has dried out of the wok or the skillet, whatever it is that you're using, and the beef is not tender enough to your liking, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go in there, you're gonna add some water, just like I'm adding the water, not too much. You're not adding too much water to pretty much boil the steak, but what you're doing is you're adding just enough water, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And what it's going to do is it's going to create like somewhat of a steam effect. And once the water burns off, you're going to stir fry your meat anyway. So it's still going to stir fry. All right. So yes, that's just what we do. And our meat, I guarantee, is going to be absolutely tender and melt in your mouth. Let's do this. Our meat is done, guys. Now, as you saw me, I added water to the pan about four times, to be honest with you. And I added just a little bit each time, stirred it around. And look at our meat. Look at how tender this meat is, guys. You know what? I'm just gonna use my hands. I'm not gonna go in there with a fork. Look at that, literally. No energy at all needed. Absolutely juicy and tender. And I find a lot of times when it comes to pepper steak recipes, the meat is too chewy. And a lot of times if you're feeding kids, they don't like chewy meat. And that's why a lot of kids, they're like, you know what? I don't want it. They prefer chicken. Anything that's tender is good with them. I'm gonna transfer the meat over to the bowl and just allow it to sit for the time being, only because guess what? I'm gonna use this pan to saute the veggies. AKA those bell peppers and onions. Look at all of that ginger and everything that's in the pan. Absolutely flavorful. We are gonna make a slurry, and I'm gonna start off by adding this cornstarch to this water. Stir it up, make sure everything is well combined. And for those of you who might be wondering, what is a slurry? Like, what is that? It's just basically water and cornstarch. And it's used as a thickening agent, like whenever you're making gravies or sauces. Basically, you add the slurry to the mixture and it will thicken up in a matter of seconds, like magic. All right, to this, I'm gonna add my Worcestershire sauce, as well as my soy sauce, of course. Give it a good mix. And I'm gonna add my brown sugar. Of course, what can you substitute if you don't have brown sugar? You can use honey. You can also use white sugar, granulated sugar, or you can use agave nectar, either or. Very versatile recipe. To this mix, I'm also gonna add my seasoned rice vinegar. Not rice wine vinegar, but rice vinegar. As I mentioned earlier, the difference between seasoned rice vinegar versus rice vinegar. The seasoned it's within its name pretty much, seasoned. It has a little salt in there and it also has sugar as well. That's why I didn't add too much salt to the beef, because I know that the seasoned vinegar has salt, as well as the steak seasoning and the bouillon powder. Anyway, guys, a slurry is complete. I'm gonna be using the same pan. I'll be crazy not to. If I don't use the same pan, I'm gonna be losing out on all of the flavors that's already locked in this skillet, honestly. Right now, all of those brown bits and everything is gonna contribute to the flavors in our pepper steak. So to this pan, I'm gonna add some oil. And of course, my flame is on medium low. I'm also gonna go in with the remaining of the minced garlic, add it to the pan, and of course, make sure that flame is not high, as I mentioned earlier, only because you don't want the garlic to burn. You're gonna toss it around, allow those aromatics to be released. We're also gonna go in, we're gonna add that ginger, and the ginger is gonna really step the flavors up in this pepper steak. We're gonna combine the ginger and the garlic together, keep it mixing, keep it going. We're also gonna go in and we're gonna add our red chili flakes. Keep mixing it around, allow all of the aromatics to be released. And we are gonna go in with our peppers. Yes, guys, add those peppers to the pan, toss it around a little bit. Let's not forget to add our onions. Keep tossing it around. I'm gonna allow it to go for about 30 seconds, just enough to soften it up just a bit, but we're not cooking soggy peppers, guys. We don't want our peppers to be soggy. We want it to have that nice crunch. Also, the less time you cook it is the more vibrancy it's gonna have. And of course, presentation is key. So we're gonna toss it around a little bit more. Check out the gloss on these veggies, absolutely gorgeous. And remember that slurry that we just made? We're also gonna add it to the veggie mix. We're gonna stir it up, combine it really well. And voila, what did I say? Magic, right? Our sauce is starting to thicken up. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and we're gonna add that pepper steak to the mix, guys. We're gonna add our pepper steak to the mix. Combine everything, get those veggies and pepper steak well incorporated. At this point in time, guys, step back and just admire and serve it up with whatever it is your heart desires, whether it be white rice, brown rice, quinoa, the list goes on and on, basmati rice, long grain, it doesn't matter, guys. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you so much for cooking with Tammy, and I will catch you guys in another video. I'll talk to you later. Enjoy.